Technique. When we talk technique, we're really talking about finger technique. That's why you can see my hands and not my face. This video is covering hand position. Now, the first principle behind hand position is that you want to have the most amount of leverage with the least amount of effort, with the emphasis being on the least amount of effort. You never want to sort of force things when you're practicing at all. When you play clarinet, your fingers really need to make sort of like the letter C. The reason why is because when you make the letter C with both hands, your knuckles are up, which give you leverage and accuracy when it comes to covering the tone holes. Okay, if you play like this, you know, like you're eating a sandwich, you're going to get something that kind of looks like this. I mean, who does that, right? I mean, like if you look at it, it just looks stupid. It's never going to be a good way to play clarinet. Okay, so keep your knuckles up. In terms of placement, you generally want to use the pads of your fingers, which are the most sensitive parts of your fingers, to cover the tone holes. I'm going to press just so you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see that, see where the parts that actually touch. Now, if you look at my hand position, you see both hands are basically curved, right? My right hand is curved over the side keys, sort of E flat and F sharp. My left hand is curved over G sharp and A. The reason why is because you're going to have to use these keys, right? And the further away you are from them, the more difficult it's going to be to have really good, clean technique. You know, sometimes I see students do this. You know, they put their index finger underneath the E flat key. Just no. I mean, like if I do this and I have to play E flat, that's never going to work, right? I mean, that means I have to like lift my hand up and then try to hit the key. Just so be on top of all the keys rather than sort of below the keys. For your thumb. Again, you want to use the pad of your finger, the very pad of your finger, but the placement of how you hit the register key is important. If you look, it's sort of at a 45-degree angle for me. So the pad is covering the F tone hole, but then when I hit the register key, I'm using sort of right here, the very sort of tip of it. You know, if you're playing a lot of register passages, this has to be very, very fluid. I should mention that I have like abnormally large hands. Okay, most people don't have hands this big. If you have really small hands, that's okay. All that means is that you're going to have better technique than I do. Just because you're going to have to be, for example, if you can't touch these keys and this key at the same time, you're going to have to learn how to pivot much better than me. Now for the lever keys, the pinky keys, if you know how levers work, you generally want to hit levers at the edge of the key, right? If I'm pulling a lever, I get the most amount of force with the least amount of effort at the edge of the key. So for like the heavy keys like B, C, C sharp, you don't want to kind of do this. This doesn't make a lot of sense because you really don't have sensitivity, and the key actually feels a lot heavier if you play like that, okay? So the edge of the key with the edge of your finger. I'm going to talk about this finger, your left index finger. This is super important because this allows you to go over the first register break very easily. Okay, the placement of this finger has to be vertical, as in you're touching it with this part of your hand and not this part of your hand. If you play clarinet like this, I mean, okay, so like this is A, this is B, right? Like you have to be able to go from here to there really, really fast and evenly so that it sounds like a smooth register transition. If you finger clarinet like this and you play, you won't be able to play clarinet. Okay, you're gonna have to take a lot of breaks or breaths in between register breaks in order for that to happen. So in order to practice this, the placement of the A key, what you can do is play B like long B, the note above A, and just practice opening the A key. Okay, it actually sounds fine when you do it. It'll sound B. It won't change that much. But it teaches you exactly where the A key is. So for example, you can play B, then just let go and go to A, and you're automatically at the position you need to be in for A. Yeah? B, A. Now, like I said in the introduction video, I'm not going to cover basic fingerings. This video is really just to teach you the general principle behind things. But if you don't know the basic fingerings, I'm going to leave a link in the description for a great website that has all of them and like a ton of alternate fingerings. So what can you do if you have bad hand position, right? What can you do if you kind of play like that, or just where you have no leverage? An easy trick is you get a pencil or a pen and you put it in between your thumb and your index finger, sort of right in the crook of it, right? and you practice playing, and the goal is to not drop the pencil, right, or the pen. And by doing so, the only way you can play that way is to have your knuckles up like this, okay? And obviously you can do it in both hands like that. And it should, obviously this isn't a practical way to play the clarinet, but it pushes you into an extreme that will eventually get your hand position to be where it needs to be. The other thing is, you know, as you develop technique on clarinet, your hand position will have to adapt, right? You're not going to be able to play things fast or cleanly if you don't have good hand position. So there is a kind of like a balance that's made there. The last thing I want to say in this video is something that a lot of younger players do is whenever there's a really fast passage or a lot of notes to play, they tense up, right? It's sort of human nature. It's like, oh, this passage is very difficult, so I'm gonna try a lot more. And the problem with doing that is that you add all sorts of tension when you do that. And look, if I have 1,000 notes to play, I have to be as light as I possibly can, right? If I have one note to play, I can squeeze forever and it's still going to be fine. But if you're playing, you know, Daphnis and Chloe or something where just a lot of notes, make sure that you stay completely relaxed in your hands, but also in your wrists, and make sure that your elbows are not like, you know, chicken.